Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And set, mark, action.
So I've always been a fan of the Scream franchise. I've liked almost all of them I've seen. I did like a Halloween movie marathon of the whole franchise this last Halloween, and it made me realize that this may be the best horror franchise around. Just all the movies were really good to great, and there's like no one I just didn't like and wanted to skip, like a Star Wars franchise or a Halloween franchise or any other horror movie franchise. Just all of them seem to be really good. The only other horror franchise I can compare to Scream is Final Destination, which is a guilty pleasure of mine. It's probably my favorite horror franchise out there, along with Scream. They're one and two. But the reason why I like Scream is just like the murder mystery of it, kind of like Clue. Every time I watch Scream, I'm just trying to figure out who the killer is, and just seeing little hints and little tips here and there as the movie goes along. It's a great uh, just mystery for me to find the killer before it's revealed in the movie. And this is why I'm also excited for Death on the Nile. And they're very clever in this movie with the killer and the reveal of it. I'll talk about it a little bit later, but um there was some little lines that the killer made in the beginning of the movie that made you realize, hey, that's not what he said before. And I caught it was very sneaky by them, kind of just a throwaway line, but it tells so much, and it's just gives you that extra layer of detective work that you're doing in your head as you're watching this movie. But what makes Scream is the meta-ness of it. It's kind of like the original movie that did this, or the most iconic. It makes fun of it and all the tropes with it and the movies that came before it. It's just there to make fun of it and to like point it out. And it's like Star Wars bringing back all the old characters. Scream does the same thing here, and they acknowledge that and what they're doing just to make it a little funny, a little more edgy. But since this is a horror movie, we will have jump scares in this, and there's a lot of jump scare fake outs, a lot of doors opening and then just waiting there. The camera just waits, and you're just expecting the killer to be behind that door, and it's not. And this happens all throughout the film with kind of these fake outs, kind of like 5 in a row before the killer actually appears. So it kind of takes away from the impact of that jump scare of the killer being there when it does happen. I wish they just scaled that back a little bit, but it was still enjoyable and still made you get on the edge of your seat to when the killer's gonna jump out. And one thing that I really didn't like is just how slow everything developed. Emergency services are like the slowest in any town. Like they should be there in 5 minutes, and the killer is just killing people in broad daylight in the front lawn of a house in a neighborhood with other neighbors outside and all that. And then the hospital, just no one working there, it seems like, and the killer can just walk around willy-nilly, and then all that stuff is just, it's very noticeable and very um not realistic. Like there's a party that happens and someone gets killed, and like all the people move inside right when the kill needs to happen, and it's just so obvious, and you're just like, okay, here comes another kill, and you're just so frustrated with how slow everything develops. And then the main character can get there and drive across town before a cop car can get there. It's just ridiculous. And then two more problems I had with the film was the side characters did not have enough to do, and they didn't like develop their backstories enough. I really didn't care about them. So when they died, there's really no investment into it. Just like in the original, you kind of knew all the characters and cared about all the characters a little bit, even not the main characters. And this one, I only cared about the two main characters, the two girls, and then the original cast members, and that's it. The other ones are kind of just throwaways and not giving much to the story. And then also, Courteney Cox just seemed to be a little bit too old to be in this movie anymore. She just doesn't give anything to it anymore, and she's just there because she was in the originals, and I really like her, but she could have just not done this one, and it would have been just as good a movie. I did though like the connection to the original Scream movie. It was very well done. It tied the whole franchise together in a way. And then the Billy Loomis deep fake, or I think it was actually him maybe with makeup or whatever they did, looked amazing. It really did look like him in the 90s. And that's something that's very hard to do these days. And this movie did a great job at that. And just making this character so realistic to him in the 90s. It was great to see. And also there's a lot of nods to Wes Craven and other horror movie people in the industry. Carpenter's the last name of the main character, which could be John Carpenter. Someone's named Wes as one of the kids. So there's very good nods to other horror movies like the Scream franchise has done in the past. And also this is probably the best gore stab scenes in any franchise, any movie franchise in Scream. Just the deaths are really well done and great effects to give that stab and that blood gushing out and where they stab them. It's just really good to see, and probably the best of the franchise, like I said. And then I was just at the end of this movie, I was just wanting something different to happen at the end. It was too much similar to the original Scream, and I just wanted them to try something new rather than just go back to the original Scream and try to do it all over again. I felt like this movie needed to expand the franchise more and just try something new and make it more original than relying on the original Scream movie as the fallback to the ending that happened in this movie, as the setting is the same and a lot stuff is similar to the ending of the original Scream. So it was like a nostalgic feel, but it used too much of the original movie in this movie and didn't make enough new scenes at the end of the movie for me. But overall, this movie gets an 80 out of 100 for me. Let me know your thoughts on the movie. It was really good and it keeps Scream franchise alive, and I'm happy to see the next one in the series. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Thanks, guys.